Uh, uh, that forum is the introduction for you to at least knew about what happened in digital world and how we consider ourselves in the digital world. And today we will talk about ethics, information technology ethics, and we will discuss about many things in this lesson. Okay. Okay. Let me share a screen. Please let me share a screen.
Can you please try again, sir?
I cannot share a screen. Okay. Thank you. So today's lesson we will talk about ethic in information technology. I think this is one of the topic that is very important for you. And I think all of you already knew about ethics, but what about in IT or ICT? But most of you, I think, have a knowledge about what we could do in the technology world, in a digital world. Uh, of course, when you live in digital world, it's not different with the real world that you live in. Okay. So we will discuss about various topic in this lesson. The first is about ethics in IT, and then privacy and information security, and then about intellectual property right and code of ethics in as a professional in ICT field. Okay. Uh, okay. Before we begin, I want to ask you about what is ethics. I think all of you knew about what is ethics, but I want to know what your opinion about ethics and what is ethics. Yes, Kana.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the chance. I think ethics, in my opinion, is unwritten rules that is the uh, apa namanya adalah that unwritten rule yang harus diikuti, jadi semacam semacam etika gitulah, sir.
Okay, what's ethic is always unwritten.
Sometimes, sir, but not always.
Yeah, but sometimes the ethics is written and sometimes it's unwritten. Okay. Okay, that's a good answer. And then next is Putu Bagus Muhammad Fajar.
Okay, thanks for the permission. I want to answer it in bahasa. So, ethics, in my opinion, is sebuah nilai moral yang ada di dalam masyarakat tentang baik dan buruknya suatu perbuatan, dan terkadang tertulis ataupun tidak ditulis.
Okay, the good and the bad about the morality in our world, sometimes it's written and sometimes it's not written. Maybe something like that. Okay, that's a good answer. And then next is Adi Satya.
I think ethics is about moral value in our society to act like we should and do not should, and it's like a rule that written and unwritten. That's it.
Okay, the moral value, that's a good answer. Okay, so I think all of you already knew about what is ethics is, because but maybe the definition is maybe it's really wide definition, but I cite this definition I think from Britannica.com, Britannica dictionary. And the ethics is the discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad, and morally right and wrong. So when we talk about ethics, sometimes we cannot separate the ethics with the morality, and then the culture in where we are standing right now. For example, when we have an ethics in Indonesia, for example, we don't used to use left hand, right? When we are using our left hand, it's considered bad for giving something, for example. But it is okay when we are using a left hand in other culture. For example, in the West, using a left hand to giving something to some people, it's not a bad morally. But in Indonesia, it's considerably bad. So when we talk about ethics, it's not, we cannot separate the ethics with the culture in the culture. So we will talk about ethics in information technology, but I think in IT and in the real world, the ethics is, I think it's not different, but because it much bigger scope when we talk in a digital world. So the ethics sometimes is blended with one culture to other culture, and we have to aware about that. Okay. Maybe we start with example. For example, this is 3 example about an ethics in our world usually. The first is about an email, and then the second is about the short messages, and then the last is about the social media posts. I want to know about your opinion. Maybe the first thing here. What is it, and how your opinion about the ethics about this image? Okay, do you have any opinion about this?
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes.
Can I know the background of the problems?
No, I want to ask you about this. What your opinion about this? This is an email, and what about it? Okay, Reiki.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I want to try. For this, for me, I think that's a scam message. That's not true. Jadi kayak ini pesan penipuan gitu.
Okay, the first image, this email. Okay, maybe I'll give you some context. This is a student, one of my student, sent me an assignment via email, and this is what they sent. Okay. So, okay, Bayu Danu.
Maybe I will explain in bahasa.
Okay, it's okay.
Jadi dalam mengumpul tugas tuh, meskipun dalam foldernya mungkin sudah ada identitas, tapi karena kita mengumpulnya menggunakan email, jadi pada teks tersebut, email tersebut minimal kita juga mencantumkan juga nama atau identitas, sehingga dosen bisa mengetahui kita sudah mengumpulkan tugas gitu. Maybe ya itu sih.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, he doesn't include what is the email is, and there is only very simple, very short subject in here. For example, is tugas OOP. This is they are not including the intention of the email here. So they don't write some of the information about the email, and then they only attach an attachment here, their assignment, and then they give me this email, and what do you think about what they do? Is it ethical or not? Okay,
For me, this is not ethical because this is because when we need to write an email or yeah, when we need to write, I need to know about the structure or ethics, because if I jika saya dapat email seperti ini pun saya tidak tahu email ini untuk apa gitu. Jadi menurut saya jadinya kurang etik lah dalam pengirimannya. Siapa tahu ini untuk tugas, tapi karena yang ngirim ini tidak ngerti apa-apa selain ngiriman file, jadi bisa tugasnya nggak saya koreksi gitu.
Yes, I think I have same opinion with Reiki. I usually, when I get some email like this, I usually mark this email as a spam directly. So I don't want to open this attachment because I don't know what the content of the attachment. This is a good lesson for you for when you are sending an email to anyone. At least you have to inform the recipient to what is the intention that of your email. For example, you have to say, who are you? And then what is the content of the email? And what is content of the attachment? And what your intention to that you send this email, right? And then you write the a good subject, not just like this tugas OOP. This is not a good subject because what is it? I know what for me, I know what is it, but it is not ethical for sending me an email like this. Okay, especially when you are have thousands of email every day, or tens of email every day. It will be make me or us uncomfortable about this. Okay, so don't send an email like this. Okay, and then the second part is about the short messages. What is this about, and how do you think about it? What is it? What is this short message? What is this about? Okay, Bayu?
I think that's a messenger promote some of product.
Okay, it's a promotion. Yes, it is a promotion about some product. I think this is about an insurance promotion. Okay, but in your opinion, when we sending a promotion via a short messages, for example, from WhatsApp or Instagram or something like that, is it ethical? When you're sending short messages about promotion to your friend, for example, or all of your friends in your contact, and you send the promotion about your product, is that ethical? in your opinion? Okay, are you still raising hand? Maybe I thought we'll ask Adi Satya.
In my opinion, that kind of short messages usually can be a promotion or can be a scam, sir. And usually if it's from WhatsApp, I think it's unethical to use that many crying emojis for
Okay.
the promotion. So that's it.
Okay, the emoticon is sometimes is annoying, something like that. Okay, but my question is it ethical to send a promotion to all of your friends via short messages?
I think if it's a friend, I think it's ethical if you want to help your friend for promotion. But if it's someone like a stranger, I think it's unethical. So if you use that emoji and you don't know who the sender is, so I think who is this? Why is he sending me like this for the first time like that? So.
Okay, that's a good answer. But that's your opinion. Okay. How about other? Do you have any opinion about it? For me personally, I don't have any problem about that because that's how we promote something. Okay, the easiest way to promote something is via short messages and via social media and something like that. But I think that's okay. But sometimes people doesn't know about the time and place that they send the messages. Some of my friends sending me a promotion at 4 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and then when I woke up and I see my smartphone, I see that promotion. I think that's not ethical because when we send a promotion, I think the best time to sending the promotion is when we are not having many work and not having when we are resting. It's not ethical. For example, when we are still sleeping in 4 a.m. and you sending me a short messaging like this, I think that's not a good time for sending short messages like this. Okay, so I think generally I don't have any problem about this, but some of the promotion is sending not in the right time and in the right place, something like that. Okay, some of my friend is very important. For example, he is giving me many information as useful information about the working condition in working in my work. But sometimes they give me a promotion repeatedly every day, and I could not block them because he's important, something like that. So we have to know about how we feel or the recipient feel when we give the short messages repeatedly every day, for example, like that. That's not ethical. Something like that. Maybe some of you have a product that you want to promote and you one at a time you sending the information to your friend. I think it's okay, but when you sending the promotion every day repeatedly and then doesn't look in the right time on the right place, I think that's not ethical. Okay. And then the last part is about the social media posts. Do you have any opinion about this? Okay, Melissa.
I think it's not ethical, sir, because this is a hoax. Like incorrect information can be misleading to the reader, so it's not ethical for me.
Okay, how do you know that this post is hoax? Maybe because this is a level of hoax, okay, but some of the information in the social media post is a hoax. But how do you know that that information is a hoax? How can you know about it? Okay, maybe Bagus Muhammad Fajar.
Uh, uh, I think I want to explain my answer in bahasa. So kalau menurut saya ini menurut saya tidak etis karena dia menyebarkan informasi di sosial media. Lalu bagaimana saya tahu kalau ini informasinya hoax ataupun tidak hoax misalnya? Itu dilihat dari siapa yang menyebarkan informasi tersebut. Bila yang menyebarkan informasi tersebut adalah orang yang kurang berkompeten di bidangnya dan hanya sekedar menyebarkannya saja, saya rasa itu kurang etis ya untuk disebarkan secara sembarangan seperti itu, karena bisa jadi orang yang menyebarkan itu adalah orang yang tidak menahu tentang apa yang dia bahas. Tentang apa yang dia bahas itu bisa jadi dia hanya sekedar share-share saja, dan kalau ingin tahu apakah ini informasinya benar atau tidak, perlu ada verifikasi langsung dari yang bersangkutan seperti dari Kominfo atau Kemenkes seperti itu. That's all of my answer. I'm sorry to use bahasa because my English is not fluently.
Yes, we are still learning here, so me too. I don't have any good English, so yes, that's good. Yes, how about other? Okay, Kamadi Satya.
In my opinion, it is unethical to distribute information without confirming it is true or hoax. So usually, if this is an absurd information like Mr. Bean is dead, first I search Google if it's true or not. If it's like there's an article about, oh, this information is hoax, Mr. Bean is not dead. So can I confirm that information is hoax. So it is unethical to distribute something that in information without confirming it first. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's a good answer. You have to confirm what information that you have from the social media. So don't use your hand faster than your brain. Okay. First, when you have the information or getting an information from the social media or other sources in the internet, for example, try to understand first what this information is. The information correct or not? And when you don't know the answer about that, find the answer. Okay, and then find the answer from the respected information sources, for example, from the government, and then for the subject itself and something like that. Okay. This is a problem in Indonesia because almost every day we could have social media posts like this. Usually it's from our big family member group that have this kind of information. I don't know about that, how that happening, but because this is not ethical when you send the information that is not good or hoax, or is not confirmed the validity of the information. Okay, so please use your brain before you use your hand. Okay, in this digital era. Okay. Do you have any question about this? I think this is enough about I write the subject of this is the new normal, because we see this kind of information or this kind of non-ethical things in our life every day. Okay, I hope that you don't make this thing, this kind of thing is a new normal. It is not normal. Okay, so don't make it a new normal. Okay, do you have any question? Okay, before we, you have to know about what is data and what is information. Okay, because when we in the digital world, there is some there is a data and information that sometimes data and information is not separated one is another, but you have to know what is the data and what is the information. Okay, I want to ask you what your opinion and what is data? In your opinion, what is data? You heard about data information, but what is data? What is information? Okay, Bagus Muhammad Fajar, what is data?
I think the data is sekumpulan statement atau sejenisnya yang itu bisa benar ataupun salah dan perlu untuk dianalisis untuk ditarik sebuah kesimpulan terhadap hasil akhir dari data tersebut. Apakah benar atau salah itu harus dianalisis terlebih dahulu. Itu kalau menurut saya.
Okay, thank you. Other? What is data? You always talk about data. The data shows shows that something like this happened, blah 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 blah, and the information that you given the information that I have, blah 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 blah, something like that. So in digital world, we always talk about data and information, but what is data actually? Data information is not, we cannot separate data information one to another, okay? Because data information is very close to each other. But in definition, what is data? Okay, data is a collection of facts that do not have meaning. For example, you are you are a farmer, okay, and then you have many chicken in your farm, and then the chicken laying egg every day, and you count how many egg that they lay every day. And for example, Sunday is 60 egg, and then Monday 40 eggs, and something like that. And you write that down every eggs every day. Okay, that's called the data. Okay, what the meaning about what you write in about the eggs? There is no meaning about it. Okay, because we only notes what how many eggs that we have every day. There is no meaning about it. Okay, but when you analyze further about it, you get get the data for 1 month, for example, and then you analyze the data, and you knew about the frequency of the eggs every day or every week. And then you make a conclusion. For example, every Sunday, the chicken have very large quantity of egg that they lay, for example, like that. And then in the Wednesday, it is the lowest production of eggs, for something like that. That is the information. Okay, because you have analyzed the data, and then you have the conclusion. For every week, Sunday is the most production of eggs, for example, like that. Okay, and then in Wednesday is the lowest production of eggs. That's the information that we have from the data. Okay, do you understand about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the information is the data that have been analyzed and have been processed further, and then you drew a conclusion from the data. That's called the information. Okay, I'll give you an example. For example, there is a father and his children, and then they meet in their house. Okay, and the children told the father something. He told the father, father, I go with my brother before to Undiksa. He called that to the father, and then he told the father, I'm seeing light, 3 light actually. The light is color red, green, and blue. That's the what the son talking to their father, his father. Okay. From that information that you have, could you draw a conclusion about what the children see about the light? Okay. Maybe I will talk in Bahasa Indonesia because it will be easier to understand. Okay. Ada seorang ayah gitu ya, ada seorang ayah dan anaknya. Anaknya ini berbicara kepada ayahnya, lalu dia bilang seperti ini kepada ayahnya, ayah, aku tadi pergi dengan kakakku, aku pergi dengan kakak, lalu di depan Undiksa, aku lihat ada lampu warna merah, kuning, dan hijau. Dia bilang seperti itu. Lalu si ayah menjawab, menurut kalian, apakah dari informasi tersebut kalian dapat menyimpulkan apa itu? Lampu itu lampu apa?
Lampu lalu lintas, Pak.
Traffic light.
Lampu lalu lintas, Pak. Traffic light.
Oke. Dari mana kamu tahu bahwa itu lampu lalu lintas?
Karena memiliki 3 warna, yang itu kuning, merah, dan hijau.
Oke. Ada kemungkinan lain nggak dari situ? Dari lampu, selain lampu traffic light, ada kemungkinan lain nggak?
There are, sir. Bisa jadi itu lampu tumbler atau semacamnya juga.
Daiki, silakan.
Sure. For me, that's not. I cannot conclude that because I think that's not full or complete data. Ya, karena masih ada kayak kemungkinan tadi ada mungkin lampu lalu lintas atau mungkin lampu ini lampu tumbler. Jadi itu belum bisa dikatakan valid datanya. Jadi informasi.
Okay. Yes. We cannot conclude what the light is because the data is not complete. Okay, he only tell us that he see the light, that the color is red, green, and blue. Okay, sorry, red, green, red, yellow, and green. Okay. But there is so many possibilities about that. For example, this is that is a traffic light, for example, and then maybe some mungkin dia melihat di suatu tempat atau di suatu toko, dilihat dari lampu merah, kuning, dan hijau. Contohnya adalah lampu Natal gitu ya, kan warna-warni itu. Dia juga bisa melihat lampu merah dan kuning dan hijau itu. Gitu. Nah, sehingga dengan data tersebut kita tidak dapat menyimpulkan, ya. Tetapi kita memiliki pengetahuan sehingga kita tahu bahwa kemungkinan itu traffic light, tapi kita tidak dapat simpulkan. Ya sama seperti sosial media yang tadi ya. Oh mungkin ini benar, tapi kita tidak bisa simpulkan bahwa itu benar. Gitu ya. Lalu si ayah bertanya lagi kepada si anak itu, kamu lihat lampu itu di mana? Gitu ya. Lalu apa yang dilakukan oleh lampu itu? Lalu dia bilang gini, saya lihat itu di depan Undiksa. Lalu lampunya itu pertama warna merah. Gitu. Setelah itu tiba-tiba dia berubah menjadi warna kuning, lalu warna hijau. Dan akhirnya baru kita jalan. Ditinggalin lampunya itu Pak, tadi sama kakak dia bilang gitu. Ya. Nah, dari situ dapat nggak kita simpulkan itu lampu apa?
Ya, ya saya bisa dapat informasi bahwa itu adalah lampu lalu lintas. Karena
Ya,
lalu lintas seperti itu caranya.
Yes, maybe that's a correct answer because we knew about the further information related to the light. Okay, so we could conclude that the light that the children see is traffic light. Okay, tapi ada kenapa sih kok si anak itu bisa tidak tahu dia bahwa itu traffic light, sedangkan kita atau si ayah mengetahui bahwa itu adalah traffic light? Kenapa bisa seperti itu? Padahal data yang didapatkan sama kan ya? Sama dapat datanya. Tapi kenapa si anak nggak tahu, tetapi si ayah tahu gitu? Kenapa? Oke, Ricky.
For me, because the father has know before the child. Jadi bapaknya sudah tahu duluan bahwa data itu lampu lalu lintas dibandingkan anaknya.
Berarti dia tahu, kenapa dia tahu? Karena dia memiliki apa?
Karena sudah tahu datanya terlebih dahulu, Pak. Kayak sudah pernah melihat datanya.
Oke, tapi anaknya sudah tahu datanya juga. Oke, Melissa, coba Melissa.
I think the father sudah mempunyai knowledge-nya terlebih dahulu daripada anaknya.
Yes, because the father has a prior knowledge about that. But the children doesn't have any knowledge about it. That's why the information it's not have meaning when you don't have knowledge. Okay, so when we talk about data and information, it's not, you don't know, you cannot conclude anything when you don't have any knowledge. Okay, you have to you must have knowledge to process or analyze the data, so the data could be become the information because we have knowledge. Okay, jadi mereka itu atau kita tidak dapat mengolah sebuah informasi tanpa kita memiliki pengetahuan. Nah, ini yang kadang-kadang di skip oleh seseorang gitu ya. Dia tahu dia memiliki data, tapi dia tidak memiliki pengetahuan tertentu sehingga dia menyimpulkan begitu saja gitu ya, dan dia menyebarkan begitu saja informasi-informasi yang tidak benar. Nah, maka dari itu pada saat kita tidak memiliki pengetahuan, jangan menyebarkan data gitu ya. Jadi kita harus memiliki pengetahuan dulu sehingga kita bisa menyimpulkan sesuatu. Nah, itu yang disebut dengan knowledge atau pengetahuan ya. Jadi dengan pengetahuan itulah kita dapat menyimpulkan sesuatu. The children doesn't have any knowledge about the light, so they could not conclude what the light is and what the function of the light. Okay, but the father knew they have a knowledge about the light, and he can conclude that the light is the traffic light. So they knew what he knew what to do when the light is on. Okay. That's the data information knowledge. We cannot separate the information with the data, and we have to process data with the knowledge that we have. When we don't have the knowledge, we have to find the proper knowledge about the data, so we can conclude something to the information. Okay. Tetapi ini ada ceritanya lagi setelah ini ya. Lalu mereka sudah berpisah gitu ya. Anak bukan berpisah meninggal gitu ya, tapi udah nggak bersama lagi gitu. Si ayah ini pergi dia malam hari. Ya. Dia pergi malam hari lewat Undiksa juga gitu. Lalu di Undiksa itu ada lampu merah kuning hijau tadi. Jadi dia lihat traffic light itu, dan kondisi dari traffic light itu adalah lampu merah di malam hari jam 10 malam gitu ya. Jadi jam 10 malam dia datang, ketemu traffic light, lampunya merah gitu ya. Lalu dia sakit perut si ayah gitu ya. Dia sakit perut si ayah. ingin cepat-cepat pulang gitu ya, karena dia sakit perut gitu. Tapi lampunya merah gitu. Menurut kalian apa yang dilakukan si ayah? Oke, bagus Muhammad Fajar.
Menerobos lampunya.
Ya, menerobos lampu, ada beberapa kemungkinan ya, menerobos lampu. Ada lagi kemungkinan yang lain?
Menahannya.
Menahan.
Karena itu merupakan etika di jalan raya. Lalu lintas dia tetap menahannya.
Ya, jadi itu adalah etika jalan raya, sehingga dia karena orang yang beretika, dia menahan sakit perutnya ya, sehingga dia nunggu gitu ya. Dan kalian tahu kan kalau di Undiksa jam 10 malam, mungkin beberapa tahu ya, gitu ya, yang mungkin ada Singaraja. Kalau di depan Undiksa itu jam 10 malam, lampu merah kuning hijaunya itu masih hidup biasanya, karena saya beberapa kali lewat situ jam 10 masih hidup ya. Tapi jalanan di situ gimana kondisinya pada saat itu?
So quiet.
Iya, Pak.
Ya, sepi sekali ya, nggak ada apa-apa. Jadi ada kemungkinan di pikiran kita dalam hati kita terobos saja gitu kan. Daripada nunggu 2 menit gitu, terobos lebih cepat saya sampai di rumah, apalagi sakit perut gitu kan. But that's not a good attitude that you do, okay? Because other than data, information, and knowledge, you have a wisdom, okay? The web serve as the action that you could be taken based on the information and knowledge that you have. Okay, you knew that the red light, you have to stop, but you Anda melanggar itu, gitu ya. Makanya kita melanggar itu. Tetapi sebenarnya kita punya kebijaksanaan, kita punya wisdom untuk mengolah informasi tersebut. Oke, jadi pada saat kalian mendapatkan informasi, ada tanggung jawab moral kepada kalian bahwa apakah informasi tersebut harus kita apakan gitu ya. Apa tindakan kita pada saat kita mendapatkan informasi tersebut. Oke. Nah, ini yang kadang-kadang dilupakan dalam hal kita mendapatkan data dan informasi. Kita tidak punya kebijaksanaan untuk mengirimkan data tersebut gitu ya. Pada itu data dan informasi dan pengetahuan itu belum cukup. Kalian harus memiliki wisdom atau kebijaksanaan dalam mengolah data dan informasi tersebut. Okay, so in the data and information pyramid, something like this, the data and information is not enough. We have to have proper knowledge about the data information, and when we have to have a wisdom to the action that we will take on based on the information and knowledge that we have. Okay. Sometimes we forgot about the wisdom. We only knew about the information and data. Don't forget about wisdom, okay? So that's data information pyramid, something like this, okay? But some of us sometimes forgot about the wisdom. Okay, do you have any question about this? Okay, when we are in a digital world in Indonesia, especially, we have a regulation about that. That's called the Undang-Undang ITE. Okay, Undang-Undang Informasi and Transaksi Elektronik. Okay, this is the regulation that is in Indonesia that have a principle. Okay, the principle is utilization of information technology is carried out based on principle of legality, legal certainty, benefit, prudence, good faith, and freedom. To choose the technology or technology neutral. So when we are in the technology world, or in digital world, especially in Indonesia, you cannot, our action cannot separate with the Undang-Undang ITE. Okay, so this is the ethics that tied us to what action that we have in the digital world in Indonesia. Okay, so one of the example is about the pornographic case that I post in the forum. Okay, why the creator of the video, why he or she or they kenapa dia dapat bersalah? Kenapa dia bersalah? Kenapa sih yang pasti membuat video itu dia dianggap bersalah, padahal dia membuat videonya itu kan hanya untuk dirinya sendiri, gitu ya. Dia tidak ada kemauan untuk mengirimkan atau menyebarkan video tersebut. Yang menyebarkan video tersebut adalah orang lain, ya. Tetapi kenapa dia juga ditangkap, gitu? Masalahnya apa? Gitu. What your answer about this? What your opinion? Okay, Reiki.
So for me, this is about because of the regulation.
Okay, what about the regulation?
The regulation about we cannot to share product or mengonsumsi yang tentang pornografi.
Okay, you cannot produce, share, and share the pornographic content in the internet or in our life. Okay. Yes. Okay. How about Putu Bagus Muhammad Fajar?
Karena dia adalah orang pertama yang membuat video tersebut sehingga bisa tersebar. Kalau dia nggak ngerekam kan nggak tersebar jadi. Jadi dia membuat orang lain melakukan kesalahan.
Yes, because they don't have any faith, a good faith for the information that they create. Oke, jadi dia juga ada di dalam Undang-Undang ITE itu ada disebut dengan asas kehati-hatian, ya, prudence. Nah, atas kehati-hatian ini adalah asas yang memang sangat subjektif kepada diri kita, gitu ya. Pada saat kita tidak hati-hati, umpamanya kita merekam sebuah video porno itu dengan pasangan kita, gitu umpamanya. Kalau tidak ketahuan, ya nggak apa-apa gitu ya, karena nggak ada yang tahu gitu kan. Dan itu juga tidak akan kita sebarkan kepada orang lain. Tetapi pada saat orang lain itu menyebarkan video tersebut, gitu ya, bukan dia sendiri yang menyebarkan. Ya seharusnya yang salah pasti yang menyebarkan itu pasti, gitu ya. Tetapi kenapa yang membuat juga bersalah? Ya karena dia tidak hati-hati. Sama seperti kita pada saat kita berkendara, gitu ya. Kita nggak sengaja nabrak orang dan orang tersebut meninggal. Apakah kita tidak bersalah, gitu ya? Padahal kita tidak sengaja, gitu ya. Tetap aja bersalah, gitu ya. Karena kalian tidak hati-hati. That's why the Undang-Undang ITE is very important for us. Yeah. Maybe some of the content of the Undang-Undang ITE is not fair sometimes, because this regulation sometimes is used to silence people, for example. Yes, so we could not do our freedom, or we could not do anything in the legal world. Kadang-kadang ini digunakan juga untuk hal-hal yang tidak baik ya. Undang-Undang ITE ini digunakan sebagai senjata untuk membungkam seperti itu ya. Tetapi bukan berarti Undang-Undang ITE ini buruk, tidak gitu ya. Ada satu yang bolong, beberapa aturan yang memang tidak baik kita atau tidak sesuai dengan keinginan kita, atau dia dapat dimanfaatkan oleh orang-orang yang tidak bertanggung jawab, yaitu sesuatu yang wajar saya kira. Tetapi Undang-Undang ITE adalah sangat penting untuk diri kita. Okay? You have to read the content of the Undang-Undang ITE because it is very important for us. I think I believe that you knew, everyone here knew about the Undang-Undang ITE, but I think maybe only only few people that actually read about the Undang-Undang ITE. Okay, maybe you have to read about it. Okay, do you have any question? And in Undang-Undang ITE, there is something that called the electronic transaction. Okay. The electronic transaction is the action carried out using the computer network, and other electronic media. That's called the electronic transaction. But when you are wake up in the morning and then you see your smartphone, you are tied to electronic transaction. Okay, you are Anda sudah terikat dengan undang-undang ITE karena Anda sudah melakukan transaksi elektronik. Okay. And it's not always about using the computer or computer network, but other electronic media. For example, when you are using your media player and you are using your calculator, something like that is tied to electronic transaction. Okay, that's called the electronic transaction. So you have to be careful when you're using electronic devices, especially when you are using a computer and computer network, the internet, and something like that. Okay. You have to know about it. Okay, we will talk about the privacy and information security. This is to, there are two examples here. For example, this is, the first example is like this, and this is the second example. What do you opinion about this example first? The example from on the left. What do you think about this? Okay, Reiki.
Sorry, sir. I think this is about the government's information.
About what?
Ini punya pemerintah.
Okay, how about Bagus Muhammad Fajar?
I think that picture is not ethic because they share the privacy data to media sosial, and
yes, and
when saat ada orang yang kehilangan KTP dan KTP-nya itu sesuai dengan data di sini, nanti ada yang bisa menyalahgunakannya.
Yes, this is about the data privacy. In this form or this table, there is the private data that the government share. You could be imagine that when this data is used by other people in with the ill intention, okay, they could get all your money in your bank. All they need is nomor KK and NIK, and then maybe they need your mother name, and then all of your money in the bank will be gone. Okay, because you could do something like that with this information. And unfortunately, this information is shared by the government. Okay. You could imagine the government do something like this. How about other people like us? They don't have any faith in our data. Okay, our data is like a garbage. They don't secure our data. They share our data like this. And this is the government, some of the government, not all government in Indonesia, but some of the government do this, something like this. I searched this data only 1 minute in the Google, and one region of the in Indonesia region share this data, and this is not good. Okay, how about other people? The government do this. How about other people in Indonesia? This is happened to in many area in Indonesia, okay, and it is very it's not good. Ini sangat tidak baik untuk dilakukan ya, karena kalau kita lihat pemerintah saja melakukan hal ini, apalagi orang-orang biasa. Mereka mungkin tidak paham gitu ya, tetapi kenapa ini bisa terjadi di Indonesia? Gitu. Saya sangat tidak enak dengan hal seperti ini gitu ya. Kemarin ada surat dari pemerintah, saya nggak tahu dari instansi yang mana gitu. Dia memberikan surat itu berisi seperti ini. Ada sebuah sistem ya, sistem baru yang dikembangkan oleh dia gitu, oleh salah satu instansi pemerintah. Lalu di situ ada username dan passwordnya. Username-nya adalah NIK kita gitu ya. passwordnya adalah data 123. Begitu dia mengirimkan ke seluruh Indonesia, gitu ya. Lalu saya coba buka data saya dengan nick saya, lalu passwordnya data 123, saya enter, masuk gitu ya. Lalu saya minta teman saya yang di sebelah saya gitu ya, Pak Yota, saya minta, Pak bisa nggak buka ini Pak? Bisa. Berarti username-nya hanya nick saja, lalu passwordnya adalah data 123. Berarti dengan informasi itu, dengan password itu, saya bisa membuka semua data PNS yang ada di seluruh Indonesia. Seperti itu. Saya pikir gini ya, mohon maaf nih otaknya taruh mana gitu ya. Gampang sekali dia dengan data kita. Dan data yang dalam itu banyak data informasi yang ada ya, seperti NIK, KK, dan akhirnya kita membuat protes gitu ya. Kita protes dengan instansi tersebut. Setahu saya sekarang sudah diblok, dia tidak ada data itu lagi. Dan saya kira bukan hanya kita yang protes, tapi di seluruh Indonesia juga akan protes dengan hal tersebut. Dan itu yang melakukannya adalah instansi pemerintahan. Ya. Kalau udah di Eropa itu semuanya udah di penjara itu orang itu gitu ya, karena dia tidak peduli dengan privasi, data privasi dan information security. Okay, I hope that you don't do that. Okay, when you have information about private data, you have to keep or you have to report kalian harus melaporkannya kepada orang yang berwenang, ya, dalam hal ini umpamanya polisi dan lain sebagainya. Ya. This is related to the second example here. It's about the info seputar bla bla. Okay. What do you think about this? Okay, Kode Agustama Namayasa.
Okay, sir. I think taking a KTP and spreading them in general is a dangerous act because it can be misused and this can be used as a illegal online loan atau pinjol, dan maybe he can censor some personal data like that.
Okay, how about Melissa?
I think it's like they found a wallet and they have good intention to return it, but in wrong way or not ethical because the ID card or KTP or SIM can be used by someone else kalau di foto seperti itu.
Okay, I like the good intention. Okay, you tell me about the good intention. Yes, this post, maybe the intention is good because they want to return the wallet as fast as possible by using the social media. The intention is good, but what they do is wrong. Okay. Because they take a picture about the data, the private data. In this example is, I think it's KTP and then is SIM and maybe some of the content of in the wallet. Okay. The intention is good, but what they do is wrong. Okay. And I think when you found a wallet like this, what will you do when you have found a wallet, something like this? What will you do when you found a wallet, for example, in the road, something like that? What will you do when you found a wallet? Okay, Ricky.
For me, I will share that to the social media, but I need to blur some about the data-data yang penting. Mungkin saya hanya memperlihatkan namanya saja, nama dari yang pemilik tersebut. Sisanya saya blur, lalu biar saya berikan sensor lah.
Okay, maybe that's appropriate idea or appropriate action that you have. But sometimes you don't need to take a picture about this. How about you share their name? Okay, I found a wallet here, and the name of the content of the name of the found wallet is him or she, something like that. Okay. But the most appropriate way to do is to give the wallet to the police, for example, or the security in the area. For example, when we pada saat kita kehilangan dompet umpamanya di kampus itu ya, pasti kita akan cari ke satpam dulu gitu ya. Sehingga saya kira aksi yang paling bagus dilakukan adalah kita kasih ke satpam. Gitu. Ya. Ya, tapi jangan sampai seperti ini gitu ya. Kita men-share semua informasi itu sampai kita dapat semua nomor KTP, jenis kelamin, tanggal lahir. Tinggal tahu nama ibunya, habis itu semuanya. Okay, that's about the privacy information security. And then this is the video, a related video about the information security. It is from Mr. Yota, data pribadi, permasalahan penanganannya. And then it is from Bapak Desike about pemanfaatan tanda tangan electronic sign pada dokumen elektronik. Okay, you have to. I recommend you to watch this video because many people doesn't understand about electronic sign or tanda tangan elektronik. Okay. I saw some of the student have dia dapat tanda tangan elektronik dari seseorang itu yang umpamanya gini, dia minta surat kepada saya, lalu saya memberikan tanda tangan elektronik kepada dia, ya di surat tersebut, lalu surat tersebut tanda tangan elektronik itu dikopi sama dia, lalu ditaruh di dokumen yang lain, gitu ya. Nah sebenarnya itu sangat mudah saya untuk memverifikasi bahwa tanda tangan tersebut tidak valid gitu ya. Kadang-kadang juga seperti ini, ada surat yang berisi tanda tangan elektronik, oke? Lalu karena dia ada informasi lainnya yang ingin ditambahkan, di dokumen tersebut ditambahkan informasi lain atau halaman lain lah, satu halaman lagi. Nah, jika kalian menggunakan tanda tangan elektronik itu sudah tidak valid. Kenapa? Karena ada mekanisme enkripsi tertentu pada tanda tangan elektronik, ya. Sehingga pada saat kalian merubah, sedikit saja kalian rubah dokumen tersebut, dan dokumen tersebut sudah otomatis tidak valid, gitu ya. Dan itu bisa kita verifikasi. That's why I recommended you to watch this video about pemanfaatan tanda tangan elektronik or electronic sign. Okay, I recommend you to watch this video. And that's the third video is about network security. And when you are interested with network security, I think you could watch this video. Okay, you could find some related video in Unixa channel in YouTube. Okay, you could find this this video and many related video that shared in Unixa. Okay, maybe that's all about the today's meeting. Okay, today's meeting is about IT ethics and privacy information security. Okay, but about intellectual property right and code of ethics information field, we will talk about this next week. Okay, do you have any question about this, about our lesson today?
No, sir.
Okay, so we have concluded our lesson today. Thank you for joining this meeting. I think only one person that not in this meeting. Okay, thank you everyone. And then I close this meeting with Paramasati Om Santi Santi Santi. Thank you.
Om Santi Santi Om. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.